Hold on to your hats, my critters and fellow Dungeons & Dragons fans. Today we had an absolute bombshell in the tabletop RPG space. Critical Role have once again announced, one, a new show, and even more importantly, two, a new tabletop role-playing game system, Candela, Obscura.
I really hope I didn't pronounce that right.
Yes, that's right. Recently, we covered Critical Role's other newest tabletop RPG that has been teased, Daggerheart, but today on May 9th, 2023, the Critical Role team announced another new tabletop RPG system that is in development by Darrington Press, their publishing company, as well as an accompanying show that has to go along with the game. And oh my god, guys, is this shit hype? Candela Obscura is a monthly horror drama that follows a group of investigators as they use centuries-old knowledge to fight back against a mysterious source of corruption and bleed. The show is set to take in a fictional turn of the century region known as the Fairlands, a place of terrifying magic. More curiously and interesting is that this show will be a standalone monthly updated horror series, apparently each episode being its own unique story, so you can watch them in any order that you wish. More importantly, though, who will be featured in said horror show? Well, we have one, Robbie Damon, a fan favorite and reoccurring guest character on Critical Role. Two, Laura Bailey, everyone's favorite Laura Bailey. Three, Anjali, I'm not even going to pronounce her last name because I'm going to butcher, another reoccurring character, guest character on Critical Role. Three, Ashley Johnson, with the story being led and potentially dungeon mastered by one, Matt Mercer. As well, we have everyone's favorite gothic macabre, an absolute gem of a human being, Taliesin Jaffe, serving as the Light Keeper, kind of the narrator, providing episode prologues into our story. And overall, guys, I'm just absolutely hyped. A long time ago, Critical Role released a one-off kind of episode narrative in the Call of Cthulhu world, which was led by Taliesin Jaffe, and is still, my opinion, one of the best, absolute best Critical Role one-shots that they've ever done. I've been begging for a long time now for Critical Role to do another Call of Cthulhu one-shot, and what do? Go and make their own game system and their own new show for it to promote the game system. More information on this new game system that is developed will be released for free on Thursday, March 25th, where we'll get a basic rundown of the rules, the game, the settings, and the characters. Fully expect a full breakdown video of that later on at the end of May. As well, according to the Critical Role website, a full rulebook for Candela Obscura will be released at the end of 2023. Now, this is major news for the tabletop role-playing game world. If you remember back to the early months of January in the crazy OGL crisis that happened with Wizards and Dungeons & Dragons as a community, a lot of people in the tabletop RPG world were really worried about what the future of tabletop RPG is going to be. People like me and plenty of others in the tabletop role-playing game community have kind of no longer trust Wizards of the Coast with Dungeons & Dragons. And me personally, I don't ever plan on spending another dollar, another dime on any Wizards of the Coast product. The Critical Role team are very obviously aware of this, and while they do continue to work with Wizards of the Coast, they have been making moves to try to create their own tabletop role-playing game systems. Like example, Daggerheart that we had mentioned earlier, a potential replacement for Dungeons & Dragons 5e, possibly even Critical Role Campaign 4, might feature on the Daggerheart system. We really just have to wait and see. Now, for the longest time, Dungeons & Dragons has ruled, sat atop the tabletop RPG kind of game world, the closest competitors being Pathfinder and Call of Cthulhu, both of which gained more traction post-OGL, but they nowhere near make up any of the player-based percentage when you compare it to D&D 5e. However, though, now it seems like we are getting some actual other options from none other than the Critical Role team, a team of people that are probably the most trusted and possibly most respected people and content creators within the tabletop RPG space. Matt Mercer is considered by many to be one of the best DMs alive right now, making content, and his grasp of the rules and creating a tabletop RPG system generally lead people to believe that whatever he's going to make will turn out to be good. Not only now do we have one system coming out, but we have another, a potential alternate to Call of Cthulhu, another horror-based system. Now, we don't know much about the rules for this Obscura, Candela Obscura, so I don't know how similar it will be to Call of Cthulhu, but we know that Taliesin Jaffe is an absolute fiend and fan of Call of Cthulhu, and so a lot of this does seem like it is, in many ways, his kind of brainchild, this reimagination of another hardcore horror tabletop RPG, and personally, I'm all here for it. Once again, according to the Critical Role website, what we can expect for the show is a genre of gothic horror and ancient evils, but not too overly scary, which makes me a little sad because I do love a good horror. Apparently it's going to be more supernatural, but definitely themed in a similar way to Call of Cthulhu, where combat should be avoided usually at almost all costs, because the world is a scary, dark, lonely place full of crazy space tentacle monsters. As we said, Candela Obscura is from the brainchild of Taliesin Jaffe, as well as Chris Locke, Spencer Stark, and Rowan Hall, all serving on the team to help create and design this game, and I am absolutely hyped. As much as I love Dungeons and Dragons, I am a horror fan at the end of the day. I am absolutely obsessed with horror and creating scares within a tabletop role-playing game space. One of my favorite modules from Wizards, probably one of their greatest modules in my opinion, was Curse of Strahd, and a lot of that comes from its really dark horror themes and the vibe that's set, and it's so much different than really any other module that comes from Wizards of the Coast. Finally, though, we are getting another alternative in the tabletop RPG world, and really this couldn't have come in a better time. Wizards stocks are at an all-time low in terms of how the community trusts them. 2023 is the year to publish tabletop role-playing games, guys. If you don't know what I'm talking about with the OGL and all the insanity that happened in the first 2 months of the year, click the eye above. We did a huge video detailing the entire events of everything that happened, so go check that out. All in all, I am extremely hyped. It's been a year of surprises in the tabletop role-playing space, and what started off as a really scary time at the beginning of the year with the OGL drama has suddenly turned into a prospect of something new, a prospect of something better, because now we'll be getting 2 tabletop RPGs from the Critical Role team, and surely at least one of them has to be good. Out of the 2 systems, Daggerheart and Candela Obscura, I'm sure Candela Obscura will probably be the smaller of the 2 systems, as people are naturally more gravitated to kind of a fantasy setting like Daggerheart, a fantasy rule set like Daggerheart. But personally, I'm just down for more Critical Role content, man. I've been wanting Taliesin Jaffe to do some kind of a horror experience, horror game, horror one-shot forever now, and the fact that we're going to get a monthly reoccurring show in addition to Campaign 3 and all of the other Critical Role one-shots is just absolutely great, man. Critical Role over the years has really expanded all of the types of content that they are making, and I really hope that they continue to do these sorts of things because it's just absolutely amazing, man. Some of their spin-offs and some of their other shows, like Exandria and Limited Calamity, is genuinely the best content that I've ever seen the Critical Role team put out, and I am super hyped and look forward to Candela Obscura, to Daggerheart later on in the year. Expect a video at the end of the month fully detailing all of the rules that we get at the end of the month from the Critical Role website. And yeah, guys, this is some really exciting news, especially for me, because I am a huge fan of horror. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of Candela Obscura? Are you excited for this new, these new spaces, these new systems in the tabletop RPG world? I mean, if anyone's going to make a new system that could potentially compete with the likes of D&D 5e and Wizards of the Coast, it is the Critical Role team. They are the darlings of the D&D community. People trust them, and people are down to give them their money. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts of Candela Obscura and Daggerheart. Are you excited? Keep a lookout in the future for more updates on Daggerheart and Candela Obscura on this channel. And as always, guys, I hope to see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. Until next time, peace, love, adieu.
A love story that might be. We wasn't supposed to happen. So much talk around us. We became numb to the yapping. It was like 05. Got my license to drive. Picked you up in my pop's car. Went for a ride. Couldn't no one tell us nothing. That night was ours. All the stars aligned and you were so damn